This is a video about why you're probably better looking than you think you are. I was thinking about this, and I've split this into several different categories which describe the different reasons I think this and why you think you're not good looking, but in reality you're probably better looking than you think. So let's go through them. Number one, it's not that you're ugly, but it's that you're very shy and you're insecure, and this will change the way you act, and that'll change the way people treat you, which is then linked back to how you see yourself. You see how this is like a very vicious category? I'd say this was me when I was younger, when I was in high school, when I was very insecure in how I looked. If you compare a picture of me in high school versus me now, I'd say I look pretty much exactly the same, except for like some very minor adjustments. Like I learned to do my eyebrows and the one makeup look that I do every day that never changes because it's the only one I know how to do. But other than that, I look pretty much exactly the same. I have the same hairstyle, hair color. I didn't get a nose job or a facelift or buccal fat removal, which, by the way, stop the trend. What are we doing to our girls? Anyway, there needs to be giant bobblehead representation like me. Anyway, the point is, I look the same, right? But no boy ever approached me in high school, like no boys liked me. And the entire time I truly thought it was because I was ugly. Like I would look at my friends and how boys I liked would like them, and I just thought, oh, it's because I'm not as pretty as them and that's why no one liked me. But then I realized that's not the reason why. The reason why was because I was really socially awkward and it was really weird. And I didn't say anything to any boys, and that's why no one liked me, because if you don't talk to anyone, boys are obviously not gonna like you because that's really weird, and that's just, if you're like socially just being strange, okay? It's not like Twilight, right? So boys don't like when you have the same dead expression on your face and you don't speak and you're generally strange. Like most people don't like that. I'm told I have the same dead expression now in public if I'm just not speaking at all. But at least now I can sort of speak normally to people. Like I'm not mortally terrified to talk to people, and that makes a big difference. And now that I'm more confident, like my social skills have improved a little bit, or like more than a little bit, you know, that improves your general perception of yourself, and my appearance has improved like a little bit, so I'm braver, and then people approach you more, and then it's like a snowball effect. Do you see what I'm saying? So I still don't get like a lot of attention, but like I get like a normal amount, right? So like that my mom doesn't worry about me and think that there's something wrong with me, okay? So the issue was that I was feeling inferior to other people, right? And then I acted inferior. There's also the issue of like, you know, did people make you feel like you were ugly when you were younger? Did they bully you? I mean, a little bit. Did I feel insecure and compare myself to my friends? Yeah. Were there very pretty girls in school that I felt inferior to? Yeah, definitely. But how are they doing now? They're still really pretty, but like, how are they doing in other aspects of life, you know? They're probably also doing fine, but you know who else is also doing fine? Me and you. You could also be doing fine. You could also be fine. And you might be the same way, right? So like you might be shy and antisocial, and that's probably like your main issue. So it's not that there's anything wrong with your physical appearance. That's not the issue here. It pays a lot to just slightly put yourself out there and be a little bit sociable, because otherwise there literally is no opportunity for anything. This isn't fan fiction, right? Like it hurts to hear, and I'm sorry, but like the enemy to lovers trope, like the one bed in the room trope, etc. Yeah, that's not gonna happen to you. It's not. And you want to know why? It's because you would never find yourself in that situation in the first place, because you're too shy to ever be in that position anyway. And I mean this lovingly, right? Because this is me as well. But you need to be able to like have normal human interactions with people in order for things to actually happen to you. Like it's not going to fall into your lap, even though I also wish that it did. So the issue isn't that you're ugly. It's that you're shy and insecure and not confident in yourself, and then this shows up in your interactions with people. And also like in other aspects, in like physical aspects, like your posture or like the way you dress. The way you dress matters a lot, actually. Not necessarily in that you're not fashionable and that's what's ruining your chances, but more in the sense of where when you're really shy, you're not really dressing in a way that reflects your genuine personality and your style and your taste. Like, when I was really shy, I tried to just copy how everyone else dressed. And I'm not saying I dress crazy now. I think I dress really standard. It's very standard stuff. I think most people would find it really hard to believe that this would be something you would feel too insecure to wear. No one can be mean to me about my clothes in the comments. But I realized that I really liked quite like girly clothing, actually, like skirts and dresses, kind of preppy-ish, I'd say. But I was too shy to even wear a skirt in high school because I thought that like any tiny changes would draw attention to myself, because I think no one really wore skirts when I went to school. Everyone wore like kind of shorts and like pants and like trousers and stuff. I refused to stand out from the crowd at all because no one else was doing it. And I didn't do makeup because, again, I was scared that like anything would draw attention to myself, and I was like, I don't want that, I'm scared. And if that's the case, then obviously you're gonna feel insecure about the way you look because you don't actually look or dress the way that you want to, and it's gonna feel wrong to you. And then you'll think that you look worse than you actually do. But once you find the confidence to just try and experiment even just a little bit, it might literally be something as small as like braiding your hair a different way. It makes a huge difference. Another problem was that I was just scared of hot people. Like, I was just scared of attractive people. Don't be scared of hot people because they're all cringe. Every single hot person, every person that you think is attractive is cringe. And the reason that I think all hot people are cringe is because they never had to learn any social skills because they were always hot. And if they're not cringe, then they're probably just really uninteresting. But either way, there's nothing to be scared of. And if you don't believe me that all hot people are cringe, because maybe that's a thought you've never had, just think about it like this, right? All hot people, right? Like attractive people that you think are attractive, they put a lot of time and effort into maintaining being hot. Like, they put a lot more time and effort into their appearance than you ever do, for sure. Like personal grooming, workouts, diet, makeup, being on trend fashion-wise, right? So just think about the work that you put into being hot. It immediately makes being hot less impressive, right? Because imagine putting a lot of effort into something that's kind of an ick, right? So don't be scared of them because they're not born with it. They might have better like bone structure, but maybe they're doing like the jade roller thing, right, in the morning to maintain it, but they think a lot about their appearance, and that makes it less impressive and that makes it less cool and it's less mystical, right? It's like when you like know how a magic trick works and then now you're like, oh yeah, actually that's actually really lame. Like they still got me, but I see how it works now and it's not as interesting. This brings me to my second point, actually. So the second reason you think you're ugly, but you're not, and you're probably better looking, is because hot people just try way harder at being attractive than you do, which again would just takes away the allure of attractive people. Just remember that like every actor that you see on Netflix that you think is really attractive to, that you compare yourself, who's like the beauty standard, is a personality hire, and then they got hot later in life, okay? But in high school, they were all like theater kids. Every last one, right? Like Hugh, have you seen those memes online where they're like Hugh Jackman every 4 years and he just has to get like absolutely on steroids and like just get really big to play Wolverine, even though he's like a theater kid and he just wants to dance, right? That's all actors, right? So the flip side of this is that it means that if you put in as much effort as like an attractive person into being attractive, you can definitely be as attractive as them, okay? Hasanabe said this thing where he's like, everyone can be an 8 if you tried to be an 8, like if you found clothes that fit you and you feel confident in and you got like a good haircut. If you put in just like 20% more effort than everyone else, like everyone can be an 8, right? And I truly do believe this. Like it's if you put in like slightly more effort than the normal person, right? Like that already brings you above the vast majority of people because a lot of people just don't do that little bit extra. So you can just get there if you just put in the same amount of effort as them. Reason number 3 is that you're just comparing yourself to people that you think are good looking or hot, but they don't even look like that in real life. This one's kind of done a lot. I think this one's kind of obvious. Like, everyone knows Instagram filters, right? Photos aren't real, etc. But also, I think I'm gonna break it down a little bit. I think that there are two types of people, right? So the first category is people that look way better on camera than in real life. The second category is people that look way better in real life than on camera. So you might be in the second category, which looks way better in person, but not obviously the people that you compare yourself to when you're like on Instagram or you're scrolling and you're being sad about yourself. They are people that look better on camera. So you're comparing yourself to them, but like it's like an unfair comparison. Do you see what I'm saying? Sometimes your perception of yourself is actually just like wrong, like objectively wrong. Like sometimes like when you perceive yourself, it's just wrong, period. And what I mean by this specifically is when you look at yourself in pictures, like when you look in the mirror, right? You know how like when you look in a mirror, you always look way better than if you took a photo. Like if you look in the mirror, like, damn, I look pretty good today. And then I take out my phone immediately and I take a picture. I'm like, damn, what just happened? So there's a couple factors to this, right? So number one is that the photo is a flipped image of yourself, and you're not used to seeing the flipped image of yourself because you only ever see you reversed in the mirror. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? And that's why you think you kind of look really goofy in pictures, because immediately you can see like all of your asymmetries because the image that you're used to seeing is flipped. But that's also why you can't see this in other people. So like you're used to seeing your face a certain way, but you only ever see other people in the right orientation. Do you know what I'm saying? So you never see other people flipped, but you do see yourself flipped sometimes. So you think that everyone else is better looking than you are, when in reality, everyone's experiencing exactly the same thing. I think a solution to this is actually to like take more pictures of yourself, because if you get used to seeing yourself in reverse, right, you'll realize actually you look the same way you do in the mirror because now you're used to both pictures. You can also look at photos of yourself when you were younger. I feel like you always think you look better in an old photo of yourself because you're not used to like seeing yourself in that way all the time. So you're more objective, right? It's more like looking at another person, like a third party, and that's the way you actually do look. I also need to put like a disclaimer in, right? Like an important disclaimer. You also need to be able to handle things without completely falling apart if like you do see a girl that's better looking than you. Like it's all fine and dandy for me to tell you that like, oh, like Instagram models don't look like that, they're all using Facetune, it's all the angles, right? It's all lighting and stuff. That's fine and all if you never ever see like an attractive girl in your life at all again, you know what I'm saying? But like, what are you gonna do if you actually do see like one of those girls and they do look like that? Because I think some of those people like do exist, right? Period. Like there just are some people that are actually just beautiful. So like you need to find a way to like be able to handle the fact that you will see incredibly beautiful, attractive people and what you're gonna do when you see them without completely it shattering your self-esteem, because ultimately it is you that's the issue. I'm gonna give an example, right? So I live in London, right? Which is literally the capital of like hot people. Like there is a hot person around every street in London, and not like regular cute girl in your neighborhood, attractive girl. I'm talking people that are like paid for being hot, right? So just in my class in university, right? Mind you, I went to like a regular academic setting university, so it's not like drama school or like theater school or like art school or fashion school where like the proportion of people that care about how they look and like their aesthetics would be much higher, right? I'm talking like a standard university class, right? So in my standard university class, there was a girl with over 1 million Instagram followers, and she's she's like a fitness model, like million Instagram followers. Another was a reality TV star, and then one dude One dude was just straight up, he was just an Armani model. I found this out later. He was like a really tall dude. He just modeled for Armani when he wasn't in class. So the sheer amount of people that I see like on a daily basis just living in London, it's like being on the film set of Zoolander all of the time. I was like, damn, that's a really good looking person. But it didn't affect me and like shatter me and make me jelly need and anxiety from speaking to them, because ultimately, like, the one thing that matters is like how you see yourself, right? So it's the inside that counts, even though that's really cringe. But this entire video premise is cringe, you know what I mean? So you need to find a way to like internally regulate how you are going to react when you think that there are better looking people than you, okay? You need to find a way to kind of counteract that. That was a really long tangent. Let's go into like reason number 4 of why you might be better looking than you think you are. Reason number 4 is you might just be in the wrong demographic or the population. So I know this from like an Asian beauty standard versus like a Western beauty standard thing, right? So I grew up in Asia, right? So an Asian standard would be like a very like V-shaped narrow face with like very soft features, like big doe eyes, like puppy eyes, versus the Western standard currently, which is like very, very sharp jawline, right? Like angles, cat eyes, feline looking features, like the sharp cheekbones. That's why buccal fat is so hot. So when I was in Asia, right, I know that I don't have double eyelids. Oh yeah, so like another thing is that in Asia they really like when everyone has like double eyelids. That's like the gold standard of like having pretty eyes, right? So I don't have double eyelids, so that automatically brings me down in the scale if I was in Asia, right? But if I'm in a Western country, that's not even like a standard that exists, right? Like you'd have to explain what double eyelids was to like a person that lives in a Western country. So I am going to perceive how attractive I am depending on where I am, right? Because people will treat me differently depending on where I am, even if I look the same in both places, right? Does that make sense? So this might be you, right? So your features might not fit into the specific area around you, but it doesn't mean that you're unattractive, right? Or ugly, because it might just be that the beauty standard is literally just different. So you need to just keep that in mind if you're comparing yourself, and just think like, what standard am I applying to why I think that they're more attractive than me? And then just know that that is a standard that's very much shaped by society around you, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like objectively ugly, right? Reason number 5, this is the last reason, last but not least. If you took nothing from this video, because I'm very bad at not rambling and keeping my sentences concise, if you took nothing from this video, or you don't change anything about yourself, I mean this sincerely, right? I am an artist, right? So I draw, I like to draw, I like to look at people because I like to draw little illustrations of people, right? I mean this like genuinely and truly. Every person is truly unique and interesting and attractive in their own way. And I really do mean this, especially the eyes. So I think that everyone has like really interesting, beautiful eyes. And if you've never noticed this, if you just look at anyone's like eyes, if you just look at them objectively, you're like, oh, that's actually really beautiful. That is a corny ass way to end this video, but whatever. If you like this, then subscribe, like, comment, share it with your cat, share it with your friends, and then watch the next one. Bye.